So we're lucky today. I feel truly fortunate to have Kristen Davidson here, one of the most accomplished Republican strategists in the country, someone who cares about the country, is not in it for fun or for profit, but because she cares about the country and has won races and lost races and really understands the mechanics of politics and also the vision and purpose. So we're really grateful for you to join, and would love for you to just give your overview, because we haven't talked to you, of where you think the race stands. Is it a toss-up? Is there a favorite? And if so, why?
I would think today it's a toss-up with a slight advantage to Harris, just because we're weaning out of the honeymoon phase. So, I don't think anyone, we all talked about Joe Biden being replaced. I don't know if anyone really thought it was going to happen. I know I certainly didn't think the Democrats would coalesce as quickly as they did around her. They immediately got behind her and started rewriting her record, her policy positions, and frankly caught Republicans a little, off guard for about a month. Now I think you see the Trump campaign and Republicans really finding their footing on defining her, landing some hits on, fracking, on the border, her flip-flops. And so you see it starting to even out a little bit more. But overall, as we go into this next phase of the campaign, so we have our conventions are over, the honeymoon period's coming down. We're coming off the post-convention high for both candidates. I mean, it feels like 2 years ago that we had an assassination attempt on a former president. That's just how rapidly this cycle and this campaign has been changing. Now we're kind of starting a little bit even. And to me, what this race really is going to be about is who is the change candidate. And so remarkably, Kamala Harris has been able to come across as a candidate of change, even though she's the sitting vice president. But you look at that CNN poll that came out yesterday showing, Trump leading in Arizona, tied in I believe, Nevada and Georgia, or Pennsylvania, and then Wisconsin and Michigan are a little, Kamala has a lead there. But more importantly than the ballot, to me, there's a question there that says, who can bring the type of change the country needs? And it's really, the only state that Trump is the clear candidate of change is Arizona, which is the state that he had the highest lead on the ballot as well. Georgia is split. Georgia thinks that both Harris and Trump are the candidate of change. Michigan, more voters think Harris is the candidate of change. Nevada, Trump has a slight advantage. Pennsylvania, it's about even. And in Wisconsin, more voters think Harris is the candidate of change. And so I think as we approach the next inflection point of this campaign, which is going to be the debate, the task of the Trump campaign is to take back that change mantle. It's, we have the sitting vice president who right now it's a tie for which candidate is going to bring change. This is a change election. Trump needs to take back that mantle, show that Harris has really been part of the problem for the last 4 years and that he can bring the type of change the country needs. And I think that's what needs to happen. Whichever candidate can succeed on that, on taking that, winning that question. And it's one that I'm going to be watching in every single poll, and I hope every single outlet asks it, is really going to kind of show us where this race is going.
The other question I look at besides change, which was also in that poll, is whose policies reflect your values, who shares your values, and who's in the mainstream. I think those are basically roughly the same. And again, she's even or ahead in whose policies are in the mainstream versus whose policies are dangerous to America. I think if you work in Mar-a-Lago or you live in rural North Carolina, you find the notion that anyone would say Kamala Harris to that to be galling, and yet she's ahead there. And I think if you want to define the success of the convention in Chicago, their advertising, how they've protected her and shaped her image, is they've made her seem very much mainstream and not dangerous in her policies. And so if you're thinking about it from the Trump campaign's point of view, is that something that they need to do better on? And if so, how do they do that? Besides the debate, how do they start in the 7 states? How do they try to make people think she is and her policies are out of the mainstream?
It's a consistent message that needs to be top down. It needs to be narrow. We can't be all over the place. I think there was one video that came out that had 100 things that she said that she's flipped on, that's too much to digest. Stick to fracking, stick to the economy, stick to the border. There are, three to four things, and drill it home in every single thing that they're saying on TV, in speeches, have the down ballot candidates doing the same. I mean, the Harris campaign is doing something, they're getting criticized right now about not doing enough interviews. That's all part of the strategy. And so we need to stop whining about it and just go and take advantage. If we're going to go on every Sunday show every Sunday, we should be talking about the 3 to 4 things that Kamala Harris is dangerous on, frankly. And it's the border, it's fracking, it's cost of living, it's healthcare. I mean, just hammer them home every single time and not get distracted by the different things of the race. That just need and this campaign has been, more disciplined than I think we've seen the other Trump campaigns. I think the team has done a very good job of, keeping to a message. Now it's a different race. The race that we were in 2 months ago is different. And so we just need to change the message and drill it home every single day, not worry about what she's doing, because she right now is doing something that other opponents have not, which is frankly ignore. She's ignoring the Trump campaign, ignoring the slights, ignoring the press, and it could work for her because she doesn't want to have to go and have to answer the hard questions. If she goes on CNN last night, they're going to ask her in the segment, well, why did you flip on your position on asylum for migrants? And she's not going to be able to answer it. So their strategy is probably the same that Biden had in 2020, which is just to keep her away from the press. If the Trump campaign is going to be aggressive with it, don't worry about how many interviews she's doing. We have her on tape. She's on tape saying these things. She's on tape saying that she wants to ban fracking. That's going to be detrimental in a state like Pennsylvania, which I think the election will probably come down to. And so drill it home every single day and don't get off message. That's really what Republicans need to do.